Hey, what's up? Anthony Roberts here, ARcreates. Fix My Graphic episode 3 is about to go down. I'm excited about this one. It's a little bit different than the previous 2 that we have done. If you have not watched those, I encourage you, go back, watch episode 2, watch episode 1. Episode 1, I kind of explained what this whole series is about. We got a good response on episode 2. It was a really creative Christmas graphic. Got a lot of good response out of it. Thank you guys for sending in more graphics. The more you guys send in, the more of these I'm going to do. So thank you so much for doing that. I love receiving the messages. I've even gotten some response about people who are like, hey, I was working on a graphic, watched your video, it really helped me out, changed some things. That's what this is all about. Fix My Graphic. That's what it's all about. So we're going to jump right into this week's Fix My Graphic episode 3. Stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back. This week's graphic is going to be from Dustin Damesworth at Camden First UPC. Sent me this graphic for a men's event. And I'll go ahead and apologize in the beginning. I'm working with a brand new mic setup that I've never used before, and there is construction. There is literally a bulldozer within arm's reach outside of my window, so hopefully it doesn't interfere with too much noise. Please bear with me. These videos are a learning experience for me as well. Anyway, he sent me this graphic here. I'm gonna put it up. You can see I made my notes. I'm gonna put it up on the screen, and let's go ahead and start dissecting this. So, the first thing I see in the corner is this man up kind of logo icon. Now that's really cool. I like that. It's very creative. It's got the arrow in it, man up. I think it could be touched up just a little bit, but that's just my personal opinion on this. I think that's really cool. Next, off to the side, we've got Ponderings with the Pastor, and it's small, and then April 26th at 6:45 p.m. And then the tagline, it says, an event for men at Camden First UPC. So if you've watched the previous episodes, you know I'm big about, does it have all of the relevant information? Well, I think it does. And the reason I'm saying that is because I believe this is an internal graphic. Now, what I mean by internal graphic is they're not like pushing this out on a mail out or a postcard. So having the like the address is not really that relevant on this, because with it being widescreen format, I assume this is something they're putting on their screens, on their announcements at church. And with that being said, if you're sitting in the audience, you see this announcement, you already know where it's at. You don't really need the address. You don't really need the website, things like that. So in this case, I do believe all the relevant information is there. Now, the first thing that I kind of had a question about is the man up is really big, but it looks like a logo. So I'm not sure if man up is the event and Ponderings with the Pastor is kind of like, hey, this is what we're going over, or is man up like a logo for their men's ministry and Ponderings with the Pastor is the actual event? That's kind of hard to tell because of the way it is. Ponderings with the Pastor is very small. I would assume if that's the event, it would be pretty big. And because it says an event for men at Camden First UPC. So is this a one-off event or is this a weekly thing? That's where it gets kind of confusing. Now, I kind of redesigned this graphic and I went over some things, and I'm going to show you that towards the end of the video like I always do, kind of my interpretation of it. But that was kind of the first thing I had was not really exactly sure what's the event, what's the logo, what's what. The thing that I do like though is they match the colors on this. It's very well. So you can see there's one green chair and they match that green with the tagline and the arrow in the logo. So that's pretty cool. I like little things like that. To me, little creative things like that kind of make your graphic look better. It makes it stand out. The Ponderings with the Pastor is white. It's very easy to read. It looks like they don't have too many fonts, so that looks good. I probably would have changed the color of this April 26th and the time. It's a little dark on, I can't remember which screen I was on. One screen that I was on, because I use my phone, my iPad, my MacBook, I use a PC, I have several different monitors. one of them, it was a little dark. It was a little harder to read at first glance. So I could see where that may give people some issues that have kind of vision problems. But I mean, it's not a huge deal. Again, this is just my opinions, my first impressions of things. So let's get into what I think could make this a little bit better. So what I did on mine is I used a different font and I kind of remade the Man Up logo, because I'm assuming that's a logo. And so on mine, what I did was I put it in the corner, okay, up in the top. And then y'all hear me talk about hierarchy a lot. Y'all hear me talk about using different weight fonts and all this. Well, rules are made to be broken, okay? Just because you should do those things doesn't mean you always have to do those things. And so I'm going to show you how sometimes using big, bold text all the way down can work. In graphics like this, where there's not a lot of information, you can do this. Because like I said, if this is an internal graphic, this is something that's being thrown up on a screen, a widescreen, sometimes using big, bold text can be easier to read as long as you have the proper spacing. So if you will look at mine, I'll right aligned everything, okay? First off, that goes against like everything we're taught in school, you know, in English class, all that. Everything's left aligned, everything's got to be left justified, all that. Okay, well, sometimes by moving everything to the right, it can get everybody's attention. So what I did is I assumed the logo was for their men's ministry, not the actual event. Put that up in the top. I put ponderings with the pastor first, because to me, that's the most important thing, as you can see here on the graphic on the screen. And so I put it real big, bold, okay? And if you're wondering, this is a free font that I'm using. It's Helvetica Display X Bold Ultra, something like that. I don't know. I can find the link and put it in there. It's a font family you can buy, but they have this one display font for free. So I like it. It's big, it's bold, it stands out. Now right underneath that, same font, same thickness, same weight, everything, April 26, 6:45 p.m. And then right below that, an event for men at Camden First UPC. Now, if you'll notice, I had left plenty of space between each sentence so you can kind of see what goes with what. But one thing I did change was the spacing of the lines between the sentence. So what I mean by that is if like you type a sentence, you hit enter, it goes down to the next line. There's usually a pretty big gap there by default, because most fonts, it's going with the assumption that, you know, you're typing out like a document. So what I did on this, there's a couple different ways to do it, but one of the easiest ways in Photoshop is just adjust the line height. Just arrow it down till it brings it up. And that's what I did. So you can see those lines are kind of together. And then on the bottom one, it was two lines, and so I made those closer together so it's all uniform. Now for the background, this is the one thing I think that really could have made this graphic stand out, was by using a different background. I guess get why they use the chairs background, but to me, this is a men's event, and it sounds more like Ponderings with the Pastor. To me, gives the feeling of sitting around in a group discussions, group talks, a Bible study, something like that. So what I did is I went and found this stock photo, and I will say here, there's nothing wrong with using stock photos, but graphics like this look really good if you have pictures from your church. If you have a photography team, build up a library and encourage them to take pictures of events like this, because having a group of your men, your pastor, in a setting like this would make this image to me more powerful, more of a connection there. But anyway, this works for the example. So I went and found this. Now, it was a full color photograph. It didn't really look good. And when you use a full color photograph, if you have no texture on top of it, you don't darken it, you don't put a fade on it, something like that, text just seems to blend in and it's very hard to read. So what I did is called a gradient map. I put a gradient map over the top of it, and I selected the dark or the shadows as gray, and then I tried to match the green from the original graphic, and I set that as the light or the highlights, okay? And so then what it did is create a gradient over that, you know, detecting the shadows and the highlights, and you get this. And so to me, this makes this graphic stand out because that color is very eye-catching. There's not a lot of else going on. So my first impression now when seeing this is like, oh, it's a men's group, it's a men's Bible study. I see the Man Up logo in the corner. I see this down here. This is to me a really good layout. It's a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit easier to read, kind of understand what's going on. And what you can do is actually create some templates like this. So let's say you have this same event, but it's like a ladies group, or you have a youth group that's meeting. Say you have, people call them life groups or small groups. Say that's what this is. What you could do is create this same exact graphic, but change like the ladies to the gray and pink. Change the youth to like, gray and blue or whatever. So you keep that same look, but you're changing the gradient map color every time. And so it doesn't matter if the text is in the same place. People start to associate, well, the green is the men's, the pink is the ladies, the blue is the youth. So that's one cool thing you can do by keeping a graphic like this is change out the background, keep the gradient map on top of it, keep the text in the same place. And now you can have multiple announcements, multiple graphics that have a unique look, but not so unique that you don't know what's going on. So that's kind of my interpretation of this. Again, don't take as what I say as the gospel of like, you got to do it my way, and whatever you do that's opposite of me is just not going to work. That's not what this is all about. Again, this is fix my graphic. This is taking something that is good or on the verge of being good, and we're just trying to fix it, make it a little better, fix a little bit of the things. I wouldn't even necessarily call them mistakes, just things I have learned over the years in design. I don't even know how many like graphics like this I've made, like literally church announcements. I'm probably making a few of these a week, if not one every day for social media and stuff like this. So, I don't get super creative on it. I'm making announcements. The main thing is we're just trying to get the information out there. My men's Bible study doesn't have to be like a groundbreaking announcement slide or a groundbreaking graphic that just blows everybody away, because it's something we're doing like every week. I put a lot more time into sermon graphics, or I put a lot more time into event graphics, one-off things that really need to capture people's attention. You can't go wrong with keeping it simple. When you're making graphics, especially as advertisements internally within your church, sometimes keeping it simple, just using your brand's colors, the brand font, and just making things easy to read is sometimes the best bet. So, hope you guys learned something from this. I really enjoyed it. This was another good one. I like the variety of graphics you guys are sending in. It's really challenging me to look at it, even to think about how I make graphics. Because it's easy to kind of get in this rut when you make the same thing every week. Like I said earlier, just a few minutes ago, like making announcements. I make tons of announcement slides. So it's easy to kind of get in that routine, and that's all I'm thinking about. You guys are sort of forcing me to step outside the box, and hopefully it's helping you guys too. Again, send your graphics in. The links are down below. I've said it many times, I will make as many of these videos as I have graphics to make. And so I think I've still got at least 4 or 5 coming in. I'm trying to make them all better. One thing I might do is even try to get some of my designer friends on this. Maybe do an A and B opinion. Like this is my opinion, this is his opinion, this is her opinion. So if you're a graphic designer, you want to be featured on these videos, hit me up, send me a message, contact me on Instagram, send me a text message, send me a DM, whatever it is, comment below. If you're a graphic designer, you want to be in this video with me, that would be awesome. I would love to have, get 2 people's opinions on it. Let's see where it goes from there. So anyway, Anthony Roberts here, ARcreates. I will see you guys on the next episode, episode 4 of Fix My Graphic.